From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big evening on Evenings LALATE, live from Santa Monica. Well, taped. And it's a Friday night and everything's all right. And away we go as your Forced Stimulus Check updated 2021 tonight heats up with incredible great news. 3 items of breaking news. 1, that the forced stimulus checks that the Democrats may be giving you may include more checks. OMG. Second, that the two-path process is getting actually more delicious, as they could be giving you additional sums of money that we never knew in the forced stimulus recon. And number 3, that they'll be working on the legislation all next week, and that the path to get it done is right on the footsteps of the finality. In this recording, we'll also be going to fifth stimulus that heats up this fall with another stimulus check for next year. Wow. And the raising of your benefits a lifetime. OMG. And then finally, the big money that viewers continue to get. And one viewer getting upwards of $22,000. It's your day to get it as well. It's a big weekend. I'm going to be with you all weekend long. And the barbecue is ready. Do you have some food for me? I love some barbecue bacon. And here we go on a big night of Evenings LALATE. It is a Friday night and everything's all right. Wasn't there a pop song about that? Maybe Mitch should cover it in his debut album. Boy, I hope the weather is good where you are. How is it? Jump in the live chat right now and tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. I'll be with you all weekend long, full slate of programming, because there will be a lot of breaking news all weekend long, and we'll have all the details. So join me with shows across the board, these shows, crypto shows, and more all weekend long. In this recording, we'll be going over your forced stimulus check of 2021. Wow, 3 items we're going to go over. Path 1, the first part of this video will be going over how there may be more checks. Wow. Then we'll be going over the voting process and why the fact that your recon is now separated from the bipartisan. Was that a setup to set up Mitch? Yeah, I love it. And then finally, the third part of this video, we're going over how they do the vote, which is more important than when they do the vote. Remember, the day that they do the vote is not the issue, because if they do the vote incorrectly, it dies, you get nothing. You want it done correctly, otherwise you get 0. And we're going to see why in this recording they're doing it the right way. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which heats up as well with another stimulus check, OMG, and raising your benefits up. And the big viewers who are getting $10,000 to $22,000 in the last few days of this channel, this is LALATE, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America, live in the morning, taped in the afternoons like right now. And coming up next is Overnight's Crypto right after this show. Oh, it's going to be a big one. Stay on this video. You don't have to lift a finger. Sort of like Mitch. Don't lift a finger about anything. And the video will take you automatically into that big Overnight's Crypto. Subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year. And next stop, 1 million. Also, like the video. Every time you like the video, it delivers you a Cindy Crawford poster. No, I'm just kidding. And also consider becoming a member. All right, let's get into all the details starting tonight. Boy, forced stimulus is getting fascinating because there is surprises across the board. And in the last 7 days, the monies have gone higher for you. The passage of the passing of it is getting easier for you, and everything is just getting wonderful. Let's go over the number of checks, which is the first part of this video. Could there be actually more checks than just less than a few days ago? Yes, there are. What's going on? The House bill is pandemic plus 1 year, so checks for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year. The senators, however, would only provide you checks from July to December. Let's go over the monthly payouts. House from Jalapal bill, $1,000 the first month, well, $1,000 per month after the first month of 2,000. Senators, a monthly unknown, but word on the street is it's this. Oh my goodness, now that's delicious. Deliciousness. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000, or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. Now, here's what you need to know, is that this changed dramatically this week. Why? Pandemic plus 1 week, 1 year. Going into this week, many thought, well, the pandemic's over. House bill will just be 1 year of checks, $13,000. Well, LA County this week said pandemic's not over. Warren Buffett said pandemic's not over. And now airlines are saying the pandemic's not over. We don't have business travel back. So that may suggest that the House bill would pay you more than $13,000. Compare that to this from the Senate. I think you have an opinion. Vote right now. Jump in that live chat. House or Senate, tell me where you're tuned in from. And how's the weather? House or Senate, I think your opinion may be different than a few days ago. I mean, my opinion is. It just changed. Yeah, there's a big difference between how many more months are left for Delta? 6 more months. 6 times 12. 6 plus 12 is 18 months of checks. Times, yeah, that's like $19,000. It's a lot more suddenly the House than the Senate if Delta is considered the continuation of the pandemic, which it is. Wow. Who gets this fourth stimulus check? Democrats want everyone who got a third stimulus check to get a fourth stimulus check. So it's you. Single individual, $75,000 or less. Democrats want you to have a stimulus check. Married couple, $150,000 or less. Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. If you are a family of 4, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. Married couple, double it. Family of 4, quadruple it. The fourth stimulus check is not income, so it's not taxable. The fourth stimulus check would be the same amount for everyone, thank goodness, including adult dependents. And the fourth stimulus check is not a waivable check. It comes on a monthly basis, so don't try to waive the check. So if you're out at the discotheque this weekend for 4th of July and you see the check doing the twister and you say, check, what are you doing? Is that the pear dance? Is that LA's pear dance? Or are you trying a new dance move? Hey, check, what is that? Oh, sorry, you just dislocated your shoulder? Serves your right check, you're rude. No, it's not a rude check. Just dislocated shoulder. So there you go. The fourth stimulus check would come in the month of July for the month of July. So long as the senators don't dislocate their shoulder. And in the month of August for the month of August, the fourth stimulus check cannot be called for a vote clearly by July 4th, but it will be called for a vote shortly, and they can still get that stimulus check to you in the month of July. Wow. In the second part of this video, we'll be going over how the fourth stimulus got so wonderful, how this recon suddenly got bigger, bolder, and has more money in there than just a few days ago. OMG, yes, I'll have all the details on that. But first, here's a preview of the second half of this video. It's fifth stimulus. Fifth stimulus, another stimulus check? Yes, this is next year. I have all the details and the breaking news about how they're going to raise your benefits up a lifetime. Oh, I'm just so excited for you. But first, let's get some money. You know, there are 2 types of viewers to this channel. My viewers and not my viewers. My viewers are the ones that are jumping in the live chat right now and posting right now in the live chat. That's you. Get in there and say, I got this amount of money for SNAP, this amount of money for rent, this amount of money for utilities. And you're so inspiring. You are so inspiring. You are so wonderful. And you just give so much encouragement to other people. There is Nisi, who got $22,000 from several items. She posted every day, and I tell her to post again. Get in the live chat, Nisi. And then there's John, who revealed to us 2 days ago he got $12,000 for Snap. Post again, John. And then we have Art, who got 3 items, and viewers who got $5,000 to $7,000 of Snap, $12,000 and $10,000 for rent, and $3,000 for utilities. Post it. Because that's what this channel does. This is not a check tracking channel. So if you're a viewer who is not my viewer, who jumps to the live chat and says, are we getting a stimulus check on July 4th? You are never getting a stimulus check on July 4th. No one ever said you're receiving a check on July 4th. That's just not the focus of this channel. The focus of this channel is to cash checks. And the biggest cashing of checks are my viewers. When second stimulus was taking time to pass in fall of last year, we were waiting for it to pass. I said, no, you need money, so I'm going to get you money. And I got you $250,000 of rent. I got viewers like Tyrone, $15,000 to pay for his family during the winter of December 2020. Paid all his rent all the way to next year. It changed his life, and that's what you're doing now. You're changing your life by getting that money, and I'm going to show you how you can get that money right now as well. So get a pen and paper ready. I'm going to show you how you can get $14,000 from the third stimulus, not just that $1,400 stimulus check. Yes, $14,000. Viewers are getting tens of thousands of dollars from this channel by following my advice. Get that pen and paper ready. And if it must be a crown, remember, it's red, white, and blue weekend, and always purple. Here we go. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority. Each one has different eligibility. So if one says no, reach out to the next. They also have their own pots of money. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. You don't say words that they don't know. Of course not. Like stimulus or Mitch's fabulous backup singing career. They don't know that. They don't want to know that. Ow, my ears don't want to know that either. I don't know that. So there you go. Congratulations to Tim and Linda who got this wonderful money. I used to say it's $5,000, approximately 4 to 6 months of rent. I just can't say that anymore because viewers are getting $9,000, $10,000, $12,000 routinely for rent, $3,000 for utilities. Let's go to the next pot of money. And it's SNAP. It's wonderful. It is money for your food. And if you like to eat like me, it helps. The SNAP is wonderful. It comes from the Department of Agriculture. So reach out to Department of Agriculture to get it. How much does it pay? Well, John got $12,000 for his family. Wonderful. He's a viewer. But families in Hawaii can get upwards of $16,000 a year. Why so much money? Because of 2 executive orders, one from Biden, one from Trump, that raise your benefits up now between now and December. So go get it. And there you go. Lynn Glenn got it for herself, her son, and her mom, and Gail got it. You're killing it. $16,000 for SNAP. Family for in Hawaii. $5,000 of rent at least to start. And utilities. And we're only 11 minutes of this video. You're killing it. Now, the check, you're not killing it on the dance floor. Can you? Oh, is that a second shoulder? Sorry. Maybe you should stay off the dance floor. Rude check. So let's get some more money. And it's $5,000. One viewer got this money as well. What is it? It's money coming back from your states. The states have an order to return money back to you due to overpayment unemployment of computer systems. So the federal government determined that states had overpaid you unemployment due to computer systems being antiquated, old, and out of touch. Sort of like someone that used to be in charge of the Senate. Now the checks. It's one of those nights. Now the federal government has ordered that money returned back to you. You're getting, one viewer got $5,000 from this. So how are you going to get it? Reach out to your respective state for the money. Indicate to the state that you want to track the money. And when you call them up, say, hey state, can you tell me where that check is due to computer error? Can you track it with a computer that actually works this time? And finally, the last pot of the money is coming back from your federal government. That's the refund check for your taxes. Let's go over how much, when, and where. Cod got it, Margaret got it, Michael got it. It's great details. First, how much? If you had $9,000 of total unemployment benefits, of which you paid $5,000 of total taxes, and your tax burden on the unemployment was $4,000, congratulations, you're getting back $4,000. Next, when? This month. Where? Direct deposit. Can you track it? Yes. Go to irs.gov. Do a transcript search. And when you do a transcript search, it'll reveal stuff that you never really knew. Some stuff that you don't sort of want to know. It'll reveal the tax return you file. It'll reveal that the taxes you paid 70% of the time. And 70% of the time, it'll just reveal sort of surprising stuff. Did you know that Mitch once used to dance with a candelabra? Do you know that Mitch's mixtape is really coming out on... is coming out in the White House with coasters on the side. And then finally, it reveals when your refund check is coming, and there you go. Boy, can we top that? We can, as we go into the second part of your fourth stimulus check update of 2021, starting right now. What you need to know going into this second part is that the recon is critical to be voted on the right way, not the wrong way. There's some people that are sort of date chasers. I guess that's the expression I just sort of coined instantly. Date chasers. They just want to chase dates in comments on this video, other people's videos on the internet. They want to chase dates. Am I going to get a thing on this date? Am I going to get a thing on that date? First of all, to have something in your hand as a check, you have to have a vote. And to pass something, you have to have it voted by the House, voted by the Senate, and voted by the President. Number two, you have to have it done right. And if it's not done right, you ain't going to get Zippo. Calling a vote means it may not pass. And you have to have it called right. Here's what you need to know. There's great news across the board. 3 items of great news tonight about your fourth stimulus recon. First, it has identity now. Second, it's easier to pass. What? Yes, you're going to hear that for the first time on Evenings LA. Number 3, it now has protection. Oh my goodness. What's going on here? What's going on here first is let's start with the fact that the recon is now easier to pass by understanding what the recon is and how it's changed. The recon, up to not this last Wednesday, but last Wednesday, was a behemoth. It was big. It was large. It's sort of like one of those old Hummers. It was just too big. It was just too big. And it had roads and bridges in there. If you wanted the vote to happen that day, I want the vote. I'm a date chaser. I want the vote done last Tuesday. Not this Tuesday, but Tuesday. Guess what happened? 0. You would have gotten nothing because the bill was too big. And I got to say this in a very kind way. There's some people who are bill chasers. They think that everything that's ever written has to be shown, every line and page to the American people. These people draft things left and right, and there's thousands of people drafting things, 100 people drafting things, because they don't post it on, I don't know, Time Magazine. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist. There's a lot of people think that things just don't exist because you don't see it. That's not how legislation works. They're drafting things all the time. So if they had called the recon for a vote last Tuesday, it would have died because it was too big. It needed to go on a diet. And what happened? It went on a diet. And in fact, this is what's happening, is that no one was dragging their feet either, that they realized that there was a problem. 3 weeks ago, no, actually now it's 4 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago, Nancy and the president and Chuck Schumer were meeting daily, saying we have a problem. The recon is too big. We will never pass it. Don't call the vote yet because it won't pass. It's too big. That's why you don't want to be a date chaser. You call for a vote when it's too big. It's going to die. You'll never get anything. We're done. The end of the year. End of the recon. So what did they understand? They had to take roads and bridges out, spin it off as his own TV series, put it into Plymouth Barracuda, and send me the link on eBay. I'm interested. And convertible, please. Maybe SS. And then came the spin-off. It was called Nash Bridges with John Johnson and the Barracuda. No, it was not called Nash Bridges. It was called Bipartisan. And there went roads and bridges in their own path, their own show, separated from recon. Bipartisan was separated from recon, and suddenly the stimulus heavens opened up. What happened? Number 1, first time you're hearing this on Evenings LA, your recon finally became easy to pass. Your recon became easy to pass. It went from unpassable to now passable because the recon became smaller. If you don't believe me, here's an op-ed from a conservative publication that says now this recon's very easy to pass. And that the GOP fell for a trick from the president. Trick? Yeah, that's coming up later in this video. There's a lot coming up later in this video. The higher the top line for the recon, the higher the top line was for the recon, the harder it was to pass. By allowing the Democrats, President Nancy, Chuck, to take out some of the bipartisan roads and bridges, the overall recon bill got smaller. Well, obviously, yeah, it got smaller. In other words, the bipartisan deal made the recon easier to pass. It did. It did. Thank you, Mitch. You fell for my trick. There's nothing to bless the recon because you have now put an enormous amount of money in the recon that has now been enabled by the bipartisan. What happened? By taking the roads and bridges out of the recon, it made the recon now smaller. And now by putting bipartisan in its own path, it made recon passable. If you were a date chaser and wanted the recon call for a vote late or early last week, your bill would have died. You would have gotten nothing. Now they can call the recon for a vote and pass it. That's the first thing you need to know. Second, what's also great news is that suddenly your recon is giving you more money. Now, I don't just mean the more stimulus checks like we were talking about at the top of the video, where we're talking about that the pandemic may be going on longer than that. What I'm talking about is that now that the roads and bridges are out of the recon and the recon's smaller, they can start, the progressives start adding back in more progressive money. More money for you? Now, what's the money left? Well, they can now add in a lot of stuff, and they even say that they are. It's not a question, they actually are doing this. Representative Elon Omar, Democrat of Minnesota, says we have a commitment, Democrats and progressives, that regardless of what happens with the bipartisan, the Congress will give us a recon that'll go as far as us progressives want to go. Oh my goodness. Do you hear that? Beep, beep, beep. That's the U-Haul truck driven by the progressives. It's being backed up. It's dropping everything else they want to drop into the recon. That's progressive, and they still can because now there's a lot of extra space because roads and bridges are out. And then Representative Richie Torres said, I refuse to vote for any bill that's not linked to the recon, and that's because I want my affordable housing in there. Housing's in recon? Oh, yes, it is. Recon has a lot more in it, and a lot more than you and I even know. There is stimulus checks. There is checks for climate. There is checks for seniors. There is checks for medicine. There is checks for children. There is checks for housing. Oh, wait a second. We never heard about all this before. Where did this all come from? It was always there. Identity, benefit number 2 of what's happened. The fourth stimulus was always pitched to the American people as roads and bridges. But and that certainly was great field day for the naysayers because there's nothing in there for you. It's just roads and bridges. It's just roads and bridges, roads and bridges, roads and bridges. And once they took the roads and bridges out and put it down the river in the next town and the next zip code and kept the fort just for recon, the naysayers had nothing to say. I want to say it's roads and bridges only. I can't say that anymore. Well, you really can't say it because Mitch McConnell silenced the trolls. Mitch McConnell came out and said, yeah, that recon is just a Democratic wish list of checks for progressives and socialism for people to stay home and get lots of checks. Thank you, Mitch. Can you put it on a t-shirt? Can you put it on a mug for me? I just love it. You just told American people that all the recon was always checks for the American people. Here's what happened, is that the recon always was checks for you, checks for people, checks for Americans. It was added in with a roads and bridges. Now that roads and bridges are gone, then the president no longer has to stand in his press conferences in front of roads and bridges backdrops and appear in front of roads and bridges. He doesn't have to do that pitch anymore. That trick from Mitch has already worked. Trick? Did I say that? Oh, that's coming up later in this video. Yeah. And guess what? How we got to this wonderful spot? We got to this wonderful spot by Mitch not being so smart. By Jalopal. Jalopal written a letter to Schumer saying, call the vote shock on the fourth stimulus recon. Well, that letter was signed by 12 House Democrats who are among the 100-plus who had written the president a letter saying, Mr. President, we got to have fourth stimulus recon checks in the fourth stimulus package. Oh, my goodness. Can we top that? We can. As 7 House Democrats on the House Ways and Means Committee, remember that name, I'm coming back to it later, wrote the president a letter about a week ago saying we're going to be putting monthly stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus recon we're currently writing. Well, who are these people to say that? They're on the House Ways and Means Committee, the committee that's responsible for writing stimulus checks, the committee that's responsible for writing recon. Remember, the GOP doesn't write recon. They don't want a recon. The Democrats write the recon. And these people wrote your third stimulus check recon this spring. They represent they're doing your fourth stimulus recon right now, and they also say they're doing your fifth stimulus recon next year. Wow. Now, this is starting to line up sort of. Yeah, I'm starting to see a little pattern here. Yeah. Can we top that? We can. As the President of the United States 3 weekends ago tomorrow, went overseas and got the fourth stimulus recon edge to the edge of the finish line by getting an international agreement about corporate taxes to pass fourth stimulus recon. What's going on here, Allie? Did you notice that when the president first debuted recon and said, well, it's roads and bridges, roads and bridges. See the backdrop, roads and bridges. See the river I'm standing in front? It's roads and bridges. He said, I need to pay for this roads and bridges stuff by raising your taxes. Well, now that the roads and bridges is out, how's he paying for it still? He's paying still for taxes. Oh, yeah. So he's using recon, all the delicious checks for you being paid for by corporate taxes, and bipartisan, it ain't being paid for by corporate taxes. Suddenly he got the method to pay for all your recon by using it, claiming those roads and bridges. Now it's no longer roads and bridges, but he's still using the same pay for. Oh, that's devilish. How did we get to that spot? Well, the president said the fourth stimulus recon needs corporate taxes to be raised, but I'm worried about raising corporate taxes. Business may move overseas to where corporate tax rates are lower. So we reached out to those countries overseas, and they said, yeah, we'll raise the corporate tax rate. To which he reached out to staff and said, staff, this is going well. Can we get the recipe for Jill's potpourri and bring it to them, those countries overseas in December? The staff said, Mr. President, we can bring them potpourri in June. People like potpourri in June. I mean, it's Europe. They do things on the other side of the road. And the president said, oh, okay, let's go meet them Saturday. So he got on the plane, that beautiful blue and white plane, not Crayola blue, not muddle blue, not murder blue, just blue and white. And then flew over there and got them to sign on the dotted line before forced stimulus recon was passed, which anchors forced stimulus recon to the edge of the finish line, because now the international provision about corporate taxes is in fourth stimulus recon, and making it easier to pass forced stimulus recon because they no longer need that provision about international taxes. It's in the international agreement. Oh my goodness, this is getting very plotty. This is almost like an Agatha Christie novel. It is. It is very, very well thought out. For everyone who says dragging their feet, which is probably a blocked word now on this channel, no. This is people who are tiptoeing around and doing beautiful dance steps and then laying out those wires on the ground and seeing if Mitch trips, and Mitch really tripped. In the third part of this video, you can see how Mitch really tripped and fell for it, and now he is not happy. And when Mitch is not happy, you're winning. But what's more wonderful than Mitch angry is the volunteers. If you need help with rent, utilities, mortgage, or internet, reach out to the volunteers. They truly embody the Purple Power spirit. That's what this channel is about, people getting money. Tens of thousands of dollars. You deserve tens of thousands of dollars. Why? Because it was put in third stimulus for you. If you have not gotten it, reach out to the volunteers. How do you find them? Open the description of this video. Go down the description till you find a link to the community page. That's news.lalate.com/community page. The community page has a picture of some kitty cats on it. Below the community page are the volunteers. They're separated from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. On the community page, you can reach out to them, and they can help you get that rent, that utilities, that internet, and also that SNAP. Now, they cannot fix your roof. They cannot be backup singers for Mitch. No, not anytime soon. Not on my watch. They cannot give Mitch some dance moves either. But they can get you about everything else. And here's a little bit about them. I'll be back in 60 seconds with you with the big finale. It's exciting of your fourth stimulus check of 2021 in this evening's LA broadcast. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals. Reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LA. And the excitement continues right now on Evenings LA for this beautiful Friday night, direct from Santa Monica, California. Boy, it is going to be a fascinating weekend ahead of us. There's a lot of breaking details about forced stimulus, and you're going to see those details unfold in the third part of this video coming up next. Also, for stimulus, so subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Also, like this video. Every like you help. Every time you hit the like button, you ensure that that mixtape is never released. And consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Casino VIP. Let's get right into fifth stimulus. Fifth stimulus is wonderful. There's so much happening with fifth stimulus. First, the check. Those House subcommittee members from the House Ways and Means represent they'll be putting a fifth stimulus check into the fifth stimulus package. That would be for next year. Final vote by about November, December-ish, and legislation drafting starting about September. All great news. I'm going to be with you all the way through at least next year. Then they will be giving you more money as well. But the other details is that the president's dedicating $1 billion to Social Security Administration. This is wonderful. This ensures that all your future checks, stimulus checks, land on time. It ensures that your benefits checks land on time. Now, if you're missing a first, second, or third stimulus check for any reason, you must, 1, file a tax return, and 2, request that missing stimulus check on that tax return. If you haven't done both, reach out to a tax preparer. Third, we now see that your benefits will be raised up under fifth stimulus and with a new benchmark inflation. But we're learning new data today as the new job creation number was released this morning. And the number came in super hot, higher than what Wall Street anticipated. This is great because it's again signaling inflation is going up through the roof. When we look at that beautiful SSI reform under fifth stimulus, what are they going to do? First, remove the asset limit, add a new benchmark inflation, raise your benefits up, remove the income exclusion, and remove the marriage penalty. The great news is that over the last few weeks, you've learned pretty well about how this works. Let's recap and understand how it applies to today's breaking news. First, they're going to raise your benefits up one big time. This is you if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, Veterans benefits, Survivor benefits, SSA, or a Casino benefits. Casino benefits. Then they're going to apply the benchmark. You understand what a benchmark is now. It's applied in December for next year's benefits. It will now be inflation. The inflation rate will be higher than it is now. And now you've also learned that Jay Powell, your head of the Federal Reserve last Wednesday, said, hey, inflation rate is going to be the highest price point in December when they apply your benchmark. Wow. So how high is this going to go? Well, let's use an example. Much of Wall Street today, again, is still saying a 4% inflation now going up to about 10%. If that's the case, your benefits will be raised up one big time. Then they'll apply the benchmark at 10%, and your benefits will go up 10%. Not just next year. A lifetime. Because once your benefits go up, they never go down. So the inflation rate next year is 2%. Then you'll be at +2 plus 10%. Oh my goodness. Can we top that? We can. As the fifth stimulus will also remove the asset cap. Dating back to a 1980s law, you'll be able to have more than $3,000 in hand. And time to put a Crayola crown in there. So long as it's purple, not muddle blue. We don't like that color. Or teal. They're going to remove the income cap dating back to 1960 law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. And finally, the marriage penalty is going to go away. Love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest. And you'll no longer fear the marriage penalty. Viewers like Rob and Sandy will be able to get married as well and no longer fear the marriage penalty. And there you go. That's fifth stimulus. But boy, if you've gotten any money for this channel, whether it's rent, utilities, SNAP, internet, anything, jump in the live chat. And as you see those postings come through the live chat right now, and you see a lot of people with a purple hawk emoji next to their name, what's going on? They're members. And the reason why they're getting these big sums of money, $22,000 for Nisi, $10,000 for John, these big amounts of money daily, routinely, we're seeing in excess of $6,000 a person for individual items. What's going on? They become members, and they understand how these stimulus packages work. Yeah, you get a stimulus check, but the big money is not a $14 stimulus check. The big money is $14,000, and they're going and getting these big pots of potential money. The link to become member is in the top of the chat in the pinned comment. As members, I deliver to you daily a breakdown of what's in third stimulus for you to get. It's first come, first serve, so be a purple hawk, and get that money before everyone else. Also learn what's in fourth stimulus and also what's in fifth stimulus. And there you go. Boy, can we top that? Yes, as we go into the big finale of your fourth stimulus check update of 2021, starting right now. There is just so much deliciousness happening. And if you think that maybe this guy set up Mitch, well, before I say it, maybe you already said it, I want you to look at the timeline. Jalapal said that the White House had been telling her to protect the recon over the last 2 weeks, and we didn't know why they were protecting the recon and your stimulus check. Then Jalapal on Monday said that 10 days earlier, which is not last Wednesday, 10 days earlier, which is like a week before that and a half a week, Her caucus had already determined how to call the vote on the recon separated from the bipartisan, but it wasn't separated yet at that time. They already had prepared this out before they actually did it. She said this last Wednesday that 10 days earlier, our members 10 days ago overwhelmingly voted that they are not going to do the bipartisan without the recon going for a vote first. What? They're very devilish, aren't they? They just plotted this all out. We have an agenda, progressive agenda, and we have to accomplish it. And this is the only way we're going to get accomplished. Yeah, preparing things ahead of time and keeping it on a hush. And then Nancy Pelosi, of course, saying, there ain't going to be a recon unless we have a reconciliation. There ain't going to be a bipartisan unless we have a recon. And there won't be a bipartisan unless we have a recon, plain and simple. In fact, I use the word ain't. There ain't going to be a bipartisan unless we have a recon, and that's how it works. What's going on here? What's going on here is that these people, Nancy, Chuck, Jollipaw, the president, understood far in excess of last week, back 3.5 weeks ago, that the way you pitch the recon to the American people is calling it roads and bridges. Appear in front of a backdrop of roads and bridges. Appear in front of a bridge. Appear in front of a road. Called roads and bridges. We need to raise corporate taxes. Of course you can raise some corporate taxes for roads and bridges. Just don't tell the American people we're going to raise roads. We're going to raise your corporate taxes for someone else's medicine. Don't say that. That doesn't sound well. Say we're going to do it for roads and bridges. And then get everyone behind you. Okay. And then when you realize, oh, maybe it's not going to pass because of the roads and bridges, take it out. The roads and bridges has done its service already for it. We don't need the roads and bridges. Take it out. And what did they do? When they took the roads and bridges out and put it in its own path, no progressive is protecting the roads and bridges. In fact, the progressives say they're protecting the recon. They're not protecting the roads and bridges. Because everything that the progressives want is in the recon. And that everything that the progressives don't yet have, they're still adding to the recon. Yes, you see how this is playing out. It's important to understand when calling the vote has to be done right. Vote number 1. They have to call the recon for a vote first or concurrently with the bipartisan. They cannot call the bipartisan first or your recon is dead. For example, if you hear that the recon is being called for a vote today and you did not know that the bipartisan was called for a vote yesterday, then your recon is dead. It's dead before they even start to vote on it because it will never pass if it goes second. It has to go first or concurrently. Number 2, you don't have to worry about this issue because Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, as Speaker of the House and Leader of the Senate, are responsible sole authority to determine when things are voted on, how they're voted on, and where they're voted on. So they are doing them first. Number 3, they have already indicated that they're protecting it all the way to the finish line. And we see the progressive protecting your stimulus and now adding other stimulus in there that they're necessarily not going to reveal to you because they don't have to. They don't have to give you drafts of the bills as they're working through them. So if you think there is no bill, if you think there is no draft, if you think they haven't written anything, if you think they haven't voted on anything, haven't prepared to vote on anything, if you think they haven't asked their caucus how they're going to vote, you're wrong. You're wrong and you're wrong. And that is based upon someone who thinks that everything is posted on a billboard or posted on social media. It's just not done that way. These are legislators. They do things backdoor until they have to show it to the American people. Here's what you also need to know, is that I've done these videos enough that I know what happened in July of last year. And if you watch me then, you know as well what happened July last year. Fake narratives were the following subject matter. They're out of town until October. That story was ran about 9,000 times by certain conservative publications last year. And I made a lot of funny videos about it, how they were always saying, they're just out of town for till October. They're not going to give you anything. And ironically, at the same time they said that, what was happening? Mitch was in town and the Senate subcommittees approving Supreme Court justices. So it's absolutely untrue. What does it mean, really? What really is happening next week? They're all still in town. What does this mean? Explain this to me, LA. How does this work? So the fact of when we hear the word in session, House is in session, or Senate is in session, it is only referring to the room in which they vote on the House floor, Senate floor. That door's open and they're in there and they're voting. When the House is not in session and the Senate's not in session, it does not mean they're out of town. And I made that video 9,000 times last year. But trust me, I expect going in next week, someone's going to say, they're out of town. They're not in session. They're not working. They'll be back in September. Oh, you can only explain that to so many times. Eventually, that just becomes a naysayer. Here's what you also need to know. Is that I think the House members and the senators have actually seen my videos because guess what? They issued statements today and yesterday saying we're in town next week, so don't run those stories. The House Ways and Means Committee, which I talked about earlier in the video, who say they're riding your fourth stimulus recon, they actually issued a statement saying we're in town next week and we're working every single day. We're not only in town. We're not only not have left town, we're actually meeting every day and we're actually in session. So they're not just in their offices, individual offices, they're actually in the House subcommittee sessions working on the recon every day. Senate House Budget Committee doing the same. The two critical subcommittees, House Ways and Means and House Budget, have actually issued statements before the 4th of July weekend to dispel any fake narratives saying we're not leaving town. We're actually working in the House committees every single day. Now you know, A, that people aren't leaving town. B, that they aren't dragging their feet. C, that they aren't doing anything. That's all fake stuff. But here's what you also need to know. As to calling the vote, if they do finish everything and they're ready to call the vote, do they have to wait to November? No, that's just another fake narrative. Nancy Pelosi and the president, Chuck Schumer, all have the authority to call the House or Senate back into session for a vote at any time. They have that authority under the Constitution. Nancy Pelosi evoked it last year to call them back into session to vote on Louis DeJoy and the Postmaster General. So there you go. And there you go. My goodness, that was a lot. And I got more to tell you, and it'll be more on Early Mornings LA tomorrow morning. But stay with this video, because coming up next is Overnight's Crypto. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers on YouTube. Reckon I want you to this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video. Every like helps. It also delivers front row tickets to the mixtape drop. And consider becoming a member so you get access to all the beautiful money that's in the third stimulus for you as well, so that you can have $10,000, $12,000, $20,000 across the board. Stay here on this video. It'll automatically take you into Overnight's Crypto. And that's coming up in 10 seconds after this. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful evening, and stay